In 2017, U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement recorded 1,310 claims of sexual abuse in its facilities. That's according to Immigration and Customs Enforcement data obtained by the New York Times. And her latest article, Times reporter Emily Kassie profiles two survivors of sexual abuse. She joins us now to talk about her piece and the women that she interviewed. Emily, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thanks for having me.
No. So tell us, just how pervasive is the problem of sexual assault in ICE detention centers?
So it's fairly widespread, and we're basing this off of several sets of data. One, of course, is from ICE itself. That goes from 2013 to 2017. That was that 1,310 number we were talking about. Now, there's also data from another DHS, Department of Homeland Security oversight agency, the Inspector General, who also has recorded thousands and thousands of claims of abuse stretching back to 2010. But there are three problems with that data. The first is that we know that there is a huge incidence of underreporting when it comes to sexual abuse, and particularly in detention. These are people who don't speak the language. They're fearful. They might have been fleeing persecution or violence. They might be deported before they're able to report. Another problem with this data is that what we learned from former DHS employees and ICE officials was that the system itself was not functioning, in that the facilities were not properly reporting what was going on. So if a claim came in, they did not necessarily forward that report on. The third problem with understanding how pervasive this is that the data is really incomplete. So what that means is that when claims are made, most of them, at least 50% over the data that we have from ICE itself, go unsubstantiating, meaning there are no conclusions at all for those investigations. So we don't even know if those had outcomes.
If true, this is absurd and disturbing, to say the least. What is the agency doing about it?
Well, look, ICE and the administration, currently there are policies in place to deal with this. There are really extensive policies for addressing sexual abuse in immigration detention. There are standards that ICE has, including the Prison Rape Elimination Act under the Department of Homeland Security. So those are policies that they have, but what we found out from these former employees were that there was a real disconnect between those being implemented on the ground by these facilities, which are often contracted.
Which leads me to this next question. Do they have the ability to patrol and stop this behavior?
Well, the thing is that ICE is really taxed right now, and they have been for quite a while. The resources are strained because of how many people they have to deal with. But what we were hearing is that there wasn't really an incentive to look into these cases or take them through to the end. And we also heard from advocates as well as from victims themselves of retaliation if they were to come forward and make that sort of claim.
So tell us, how is the Trump administration's zero tolerance policy impacting this issue here?
Right. So this is a problem that has existed long before the Trump administration. It existed under Obama, it existed under Clinton, it existed under Bush. It's stretching back decades. And the Trump administration, with their zero tolerance policy, is just exacerbating an already existent issue. So when we add tons of people into an already bloated system of immigration detention, and we're talking about possibly expanding to 52,000 for 2019 from the 41,000 that are currently the daily population of immigration detention. That's what's in Trump's policy for his budget for 2019. So if that happens, as the system grows, more abuse will occur. The bigger the system is, the more abuse. That's the bottom line.
Finally, tell us about the two women that you got a chance to speak with, to hear their stories.
So Maria has luckily got her green card now. She received her green card after 7 years waiting for it after her abuse took place. And she's settling in the U.S. She still struggles with the memories of what happened to her, but she's trying to move forward. Edie, the other woman, the young woman, is living with her two young children in Georgia. She does not yet have her visa. She is still waiting. So she is still involved in a civil trial against the guard and the facility, which was a family detention center where she was housed, and she's still waiting and she still deals with this.
And that process, is it pretty long to deal with? Could it last, what, a couple years? I know you said it took 7 years for the young lady to get her visa and get that situation under control.
Really, it depends on the caseload. So each case is independent and it can take any number of years to process. So for Maria, it took 7. We have no idea how long it might take for ED. She's not even waiting for a green card at this point, just a visa to be able to stay here and to work to support her 2 young children.
All right, Emily Kassie, great reporting too. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks so much for having me.
You bet.